Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Monday's Wealth Creation Show. Welcome everybody here on the social media pages and also everybody here on TikTok. I know you're used to seeing Jim on the TikTok live, but we run a lot of platforms, so it's quite difficult for one person to do it all. So we've kind of shared the responsibility
Good
of doing
stuff.
live. Yeah. So we're going to talk today, Jim, about how to get rich without winning the lottery. And I think, do you know, it's quite a common thing to hear. People will say, if it's in reference to possibly going somewhere nice or having something nice or doing something, okay, I'll wait till I win the lottery to do that. And then it's like, why are you waiting? You know, make it happen.
Most people rely on. So here's the rule of thumb here. How to get rich without winning the lottery. Most people actually rely on playing the lottery to be rich. If you ask them, the majority. This was a survey. It was actually done, and there's numerous surveys done after it. And they're saying, "How do you think you're ever going to be rich?" And most people actually say, "Well, if I win the lottery."
Yeah.
But the next one out of that is, if someone dies, who do you want to die? Who do you want to die to become rich? Really? Would you rather not have that person still here? But that's how people think. It's I've got to say, it's mind blowing. You get what you expect. Here's a classic example. Let's do this right now, Richard, because I was going to do this all the way through, but let's do it right now. Let's get into the details of this and how focus goes, where energy flows, where focus goes.
Okay.
So I'm going to test you. I'm going to ask you to look around the room.
Okay.
And look around your room and look for everything. It is brown.
Okay.
I'll give you about 30 seconds. You know, just
Right. Okay.
close your eyes. Keep them closed. Keep them closed all the
Okay.
time until I tell you to open them. Now tell
Open
me
them,
something
yeah.
in the room. Tell me something in the room without opening your eyes. It was red.
The book that's on my shelf next to me.
But tell me quite a lot of then stuff it was red. Don't open your eyes.
I never closed them again. I could only think of the one book that's on my right.
But now, obviously, don't open your eyes yet. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed. Now, obviously, you saw a lot more brown than you were looking for red, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Now, open your eyes and look for red.
Yeah, I can see straight away in front of me. There's stuff on the
And you can find a lot more red, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's a lot more red. Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to say. You find what supports your belief.
Okay.
That's what it shows you. You'll find stuff that's not even there to make yourself successful. You'll find stuff that's not there to make yourself successful. That's clear. And I bet you saw probably some colours there which weren't really brown, but were maybe beige. And you thought, yeah, I can class that as brown, can't I?
Yeah, I did think there's a couple of that there, yeah.
And I bet you saw some things that were maybe burgundy that you thought, yeah, okay, they could be red.
Because you're looking to make it happen, yeah.
Yes, you've nailed it. This is all about you looking to be successful. So therefore, that's what it says. You'll go back and find stuff that's not even there to justify your success. So if you think you're screwed up or you're messed up, you're going to find or colour yourself in that way. So whatever you think about is actually it's true. So whatever you think about becomes true. So aka whatever you believe is very self-evident. You'll find exactly what you're looking for every time you look at it, if you focus on it.
I'm glad to see
even stuff that's not there.
A few people on TikTok obviously followed us doing that, and they're saying me too. So they've done. So it's the same thing. So I'm glad that
But that's clearly, that tells you straight away. If you think about the fact that you're going to have to win the lottery in order to get rich, you will never be rich.
Yeah.
I don't play the lottery.
No, neither do I. No.
I never had a pension when I first started out because I thought I'm going to be rich or I'm going to be a millionaire or I'll die trying. But I tell you what, let's all burn the boats and get on with it and make it happen.
Yeah. And I think the reason people think like this is because maybe a lot of people, and it will be a lot of people at the start, maybe even think about starting a journey and they don't have a lot of capital or things, or they just never ever have that belief that they could make success from nothing. And they think the only way
here's success straight away. If you had started in 2007,
Okay.
this is going to be a mind blower for people out there. If you're an iPhone fan, so if
Okay.
you're a fan of iPhone, I am not a fan of iPhone. I go way back to the Atari days in Apple, where Apple stopped Atari from developing their system in order to make Apple better. But, Wozniak and Jobs worked for Atari before.
Yeah.
That's why. So they deliberately took them to court and stopped Atari developing the Atari system. Okay, but apart from that, that's my grievance with Apple. I'll never live it down. Atari was the best at everything, the best in graphical user environment as well. Anyway, that's another story. So if you're an iPhone fan, here's a classic about how to get rich without winning the lottery. If you're an iPhone fan and you
Okay.
bought every single iPhone that came out from 2007, you would have spent $20,600 in America. Do you know if you'd invested that same money at the same point as buying the iPhone, instead of buying the iPhone and invested in Apple stock at the same point, that $20,600 would be worth $206 million today. Holy
So,
shit.
did you say 206 million?
Million.
Jeez, oh. So, and let me just clarify. So that's not you saying to invest the 20,600 in a winner. That's like each time you went to buy a phone.
Each time you went to buy an iPhone, you should have just bought the stock instead. And you'd be worth 206 million today in Apple shares. All because you wanted to become a consumer. You weren't a producer. The producer went and bought the stock. The consumer bought the iPhone.
206 million. So what's that? A fifth of a billion?
Yeah. 20,000. That is a return on investment.
This is going to be a good one.
Geez, I can't even calculate that. One, two, three equals. You can't even quantify that, Richard. It's like, oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, divided by 206, so equals that. Multiplied by 1,000 equals that's a return on investment of 1,000,000%.
Jeez, oh. Okay, well, I think that proves
26,000, 20,600, 206 million. That's a 1 million percentage return on investment. All because instead of buying the iPhone, you bought the stock. Now, you tell me if there's no opportunities out there. There's no opportunities out there to get rich without actually winning the lottery. It's all around you. This goes back to the original test. This goes back to the original test I did in the very beginning. This goes right back to the test I did in the very beginning. Whatever you focus on is whatever you get. So if you focus on shit, then you're going to get shit. That's it, really. If you focus on success and you focus on the thing that you should be focusing on in order to succeed, it will start to appear out of nowhere and you'll start to find it wherever it is without actually ever being there in the first place. It just happens. Some people watch it happen. Some people make it happen. But most people wonder what the heck just happened. And in an Apple stock thing, you're just sitting there going, what the heck just happened? It's like a 1,000,000% investment if you had bought their stock at the same time instead of buying the iPhone with the same money.
Yeah, that's a real eye-opener. And I think it's true what you say, Jim. There's opportunities everywhere for anybody, no matter what walk of life they come from or do you know what their background is. And I think that's where people struggle because they think that maybe they don't have a lot of self-belief or how to start their journey. And it's all about finding the right people and the right advice and how to guide you in that right direction. And it's all about then really having that approach of understanding. I mean, if you don't have the understandings and the fundamentals of like a wealth creation or a wealth generation kind of mindset, then you need to try and, well, the first point is cultivating a wealth mindset. And that's what we're going to cover. And it's finding the right people to get you in that mindset or to guide you. Mentors.
So I'm going to talk about then my own personal journey because this has to apply to me completely because I got rich without winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Rich beyond 1% in the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
That's where I am in terms of rich or wealth, I would say. And this is when you talk about cultivate a mindset, because you've got 10 points that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
And cultivating a mindset, for a wealth mindset for me, was all about reading the right books and listening to the right people and learning from the right people who are far more successful than me in that journey. And that is, people like, for example, Richard Branson, people
Yeah.
like Alan Sugar, people like Tony Robbins, people like, all these different people, even people that aren't even known in the celebrity sphere, anybody like that. None of these people, all these people, and as soon as they brought out a book which was completely relevant to what the subject I wanted to focus on, I would then get that book and read it. Now, there's no surprise. I'm reading Finding My Virginity again, updated
Yeah.
for the Virgin Galactic experience and all the rest of it, and what's happening with Richard Branson. But there's other ones as well I read, and we've talked about them lots and lots of times. So everybody can listen to them on previous shows, because this is unique to this. But the cultivating the wild mindset was attending functions as well. It was going to get networking around the right people. If you're
Yeah.
not networking with the right people, and I don't mean you've got to network with people that are higher than you in terms of their wealth, in terms of their mindset, in terms of their strategies. If you don't network with these type of people, you're not going anywhere, because you're basically all shooting fish in a barrel. That's it. So you have to make sure you've got the right people that you're learning from. You can't learn from it's like the classic example that, I get it now and again where people actually try to advise me on where I should be putting my money. And I'm like, okay, so what are you doing just now? All right. Sorry? You're working. I'm sitting in my house in Spain and you're working. Do you have to work? Yeah, I have to work to pay the bills. Well, I don't. So how the hell could you tell me what I should be doing and how to do it in order to cultivate that wealth mindset? You don't even have that wealth mindset when you're talking to that person. You don't have that wealth mindset. How could you tell me how to do this? So it's the wealth mindset. It's the books you read. Einstein said it. Einstein clearly said, you will be where you are in the next 5 years by the books you read and the people you associate with.
Yeah.
So unless you get round the right people and read the right books, then you ain't going to be anywhere other than where you are right now, if not worse off. I saw, and this is an example of the other way. And I was appalled when I went to Glasgow at the weekend there. And on a 11:30 on a Saturday night, I walked along in Glasgow, and I was walking along Argyle Street. The amount of people that were absolutely inebriated and the amount of people that actually had blood on them was unbelievable. But what I noticed as well is the amount of people that were homeless and sitting in the street just begging. And it's like, my God. So I went away and bought food and all the rest of it and gave it out. But that wasn't the story. Came across this guy. All the rest of them were basically drugs and all the rest of it. They're wasted completely.
Yeah.
And they were just had no idea what they were doing, where they were, and all the rest of it. But there was this one guy I came across, and he was like completely on point. When I gave him, we want something to eat, and here's a sausage supper for you. I just bought it for you. You want a bottle of water as well at the same time. And he went, oh, thanks very much for that. I really appreciate that, and all the rest of it. And he had just been speaking to I think it's the pastors, the street pastors.
Yeah.
So he'd had a conversation with them, but this guy was on point. And I was almost, and I didn't want to do it. I was almost like, why are you sitting here? Because if you're sitting homeless in the street, the last thing you want is somebody, quizzing you why you're sitting there homeless in the street. Just go away and leave me alone. But what I feared for him is this mindset that he's going to get into. Because what happens is people need social connection. And what you usually find is because you're sitting in the street and you're homeless, no one that's walking past you wants to talk to you, really.
Yeah.
But the only people who want to talk to you is other people that are sitting homeless in the street. But at this point in time, they're worse off than him. So what's going to happen to him
He's
is
going to
he's
fall into that.
possibly going to get involved in these people. And then the next minute, one of them is going, I'm just shooting up. And then he goes, you want a wee try of this? And because of social connection, he then says, yeah, okay, I'll try it out and see how we get on. And 6 months later, he's that like them. Frazzled.
Yeah. Subconsciously conditioned to then feel like, well, this is what I should be doing. This is
This
where
is
I
the
am.
mindset thing.
Yeah,
This goes back to what I just said in the beginning about the, look for all the brown. Close your eyes, look for all the brown,
yeah,
and it'll tell me where all the red is. And you get what you see and get what you focus on and get where the people you're around. And it's the people you associate with. And your my mum used to tell me this all the time. Do not go about with these people when I was a young. It's like,
yeah,
because it's going to rub off on you. And I'm going, away you go. Next minute I'm into trouble
yeah.
with the police.
Fly with the crows.
It's like you fly with the crows.
You get shot with them. Yeah,
You'll get shot with them as well at the same
yeah,
time. And it's like I just did not believe this what I thought was just crap at the time, but it's genuinely true. You get like the people you associate with, so you need to cultivate that wealth mindset, and it's about getting round the right people, reading the right books, associating with the right people, going to the right functions, and putting things into action.
yeah,
I cannot emphasize that a lot more. Action speaks louder than words.
yeah,
We've all heard the phrase, don't tell me, show me.
yeah. I would totally agree with that, Jim. And it does really involve shifting your focus from the limitations of your current
Yeah.
situation or things
So,
to the
then
possibility.
it brings me nicely then, Richard, to the next one you talked about, is setting clear, achievable goals. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want to know about achievable goals then? What would you want to know from me about achievable goals?
Yeah, I think a lot of people set out and they set goals, and sometimes we say clear, achievable goals, and sometimes you really need to be realistic about where you're trying to get to and what you're trying to achieve. We spoke a lot in the past, and I've done a lot in training and things about SMART goals, which is broken down to you set specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. They're called SMART goals. And this is a really important thing as well, because I mean I've done it myself, and I'm sure you've done it yourself, and anybody watching maybe done it and set out to do something, and it's really been unachievable for the outset. So you need to
So you
think.
tell me what SMART goals you've set for yourself then.
I've got goals at the moment. Networking is one of mine. I do
Mhm.
live videos, and I do Diary of a Letting Agent. I don't know if any of you keep up with it on TikTok and the social media platforms. So I set measurable goals for my own performance in terms of who I want to be and where I want to get to. And that involves
So
networking and
why do
video.
you do that then? So why do you do that?
I do that to create my own accountability, and also it's to improve my own discipline. Discipline's a really
Mhm.
difficult thing. To discipline yourself to do things is really difficult.
Well,
And
it's not really that difficult, is it?
it's not difficult. It's about training yourself to do it properly.
Yeah. So
And yeah,
just lift your hand for me. Yeah. Did you do it or did you not do it?
I don't know.
So that's it. So it's
Yeah,
clear. It's as clear as day as that. It is
yeah,
a black or white exercise. It is like, are you going out running or are you not going out running?
yeah.
That's it. There's no I might go out running, because that's just you're no going out running.
Yeah, it's the same thing. People will do the same thing with the gym. I'm guilty of it myself. Do you know, it's like go to the gym. Are you going to go 3 days a week or X amount of days a week, or are you going to just go when you feel like it?
Yeah, definitely. So that's, for me personally, the goals was always, I always wrote them down. So
Yeah,
the first thing I did was I wrote every single goal down. Every single thing I wanted, I wrote it down and I kept it on me,
yeah,
on a bit of paper. And I wish I could find that bit of paper, because I had a huge spreadsheet written on an A4 bit of paper. And actually, it was just written, if I do this in year 2000 or whatever it was, or
yeah,
1995 or 97, if I bought one property, it would make me X amount of money. And therefore, I'd be able to get a deposit after 3 years to buy another property. And then after, so 1 year
yeah,
I'd make 1,000, next year I'd make 1,000, next year 3 I'd be able to buy another property, because property at that time was 20 grand. So, and you were getting 80% loan to value, or sometimes
yeah,
90% loan to value. So I could buy another property. So in year 3 I bought another property and I had 2 properties. So then year 4 was another 2,000, and in year 5 was another 2,000. I thought, I could buy another property with another deposit. So in year 6 I bought another property. So I had 3 properties now in year 6. And it was like, okay, I'm now making £3,000 a year. So, okay, £3,000. And then the next year, in year 7, I was able to buy another property. So I had 4 properties in year 7, and I was now making £4,000. And the next year I was able to buy a year 8. I was able, oh, another property. So I could buy 8 properties now. I've got 8 properties. I'm now making 8,000. And then, you know, the next year I was,
See how that
oh,
compounds
wait a
up.
minute, I could buy 2 properties now. So the next year I had 10 properties in year 9. And I was now, you know, so this is how I did things. And this is how I wrote all written out. And it was very, very just back at a fact packet stuff, but it was factual. It was factual information, but it was written down just in, you know, just a pen and a bit of paper, folded it up, kept it in my pocket, and walked about everywhere with it. And every now and again, I'd look at it and go, yo, I could buy that. Now, I was completely focused on that. I blinkered. Exactly like you've got a racehorse while they're sitting with blinkers on. So they don't see any, they've got nothing else, no distractions, blinkers. So it's that thing, that sort of thing, mentality, blinkers focused. And this was, I can't see the brown, I can't see anything else. I could just see exactly what's in front of me. So I'm not going anywhere else. I'm not getting any distractions. I'm going for it. And that's what my focus was. Buy more property, buy more property, buy more property, make sure the numbers work, make sure the numbers work, buy more property, make sure the numbers work, make sure the numbers don't work, no buying that one. Numbers don't work, no buying that one. Yep, numbers work, buying that one. So that's all I did. I just kept buying and buying and buying as soon as I got money. When I started looking at my own finances, this is what we come on to educating yourself financially, which is your third one here.
Yeah.
I then took a spreadsheet again, and I actually did it on a spreadsheet because I was training to be a bookkeeper and accountant at that time. I was studying, and I did a spreadsheet this time. I took my bank statements for the last 6 months, and then I took every single one and I put it into what the income categories were. Basically, it was my job. There was no other income apart from that. So it was my job income coming in. And then I looked in how much is going out in the mortgage, how much is going out in the council tax, how much is going out in utilities, how much is going out in food, how much is, and I broke it all down for my bank statement every single time. So I had exactly what it is. And then I saw that for the 6-month period. Okay. Now you can do it to a 12-month quite easily now because you can just collate everything together and add it all up. You've got a 12-month period. And then once you see what's at the top, and then once you see what you've got at the bottom, you then see what you've got out coming at the very end in cash. That's when you know if you can invest a wee bit more money into property. But the great thing about doing that is it then lets you focus on we've just done it in the budget, haven't we?
Yeah.
Where's my money going? And it's like, do I really spend that much on going out? Do I really spend that much on alcohol? Do I really spend that much on cigarettes? I think I was smoking at that time. Yeah, I was at that time, you know, all these years ago. Do I really spend all that amount? Do we really need 2 cars? It's costing us that. Because then when I looked at what proportion of money my money was going, I was working out, wait a minute, 2 cars is costing me about 20% of my income. It's like, now, if I got rid of it, 10% would be there. I would have 10%. By the way, 10% of my income was then, I could buy another house.
Yeah.
10% of my income. So then I started to think, okay, how could I get this right down? And we ended up living with 2 salaries on £1,000 a month. That's all we're living on. We were able to buy our clothes, we were able to pay our council tax, our mortgage, have a car, our petrol, and our food, and everything like that. We managed to do that on £1,000 a month. But we had about £2,000 coming in. So I had £1,000 extra every single month it was taxed. That's 12 grand a year extra. How many properties can I buy now? I could buy probably another 4, maybe even 5, if I could do a push, if I could be quite creative in what I'm doing. I could buy another 4 in a year. So you see how that started to, because I did that exercise of educating myself financially and understanding how to do that and put all that together, I then understood where my money is going. Well, holidays. To hell with holidays.
Yeah.
It's like my holiday I was wanting to take that year would have cost me like Apple shares and buying an iPhone instead of actually investing in Apple. It's like, I'm not having holidays now. I'm going to get temporarily ambitious to be permanently lazy. I could have all the holidays I want later on. Why do I need it now?
Do you know, and listening to that, Jim, and as well, like you obviously talk about educating yourself financially, and it's about a little bit budgeting and saving and things in it as well, but also with your strategy that you had set out, you say about your plan you had in your pocket and things. And that just all sounds quite straightforward and simple. And people think, how can it be? That's what I mean. How can that be? People get too caught up in the detail and make things too complicated, and they don't need to be. It is really quite simple as long as you've got the right mindset.
Personally, for me, yep, I never got caught up in the detail. I didn't let anything else distract me. I knew where I was going, and everybody used to go, "Oh, God, that's pretty." You kind of go out and stuff like that. And we did go out now and again. To a night 9 o'clock. You have a couple of drinks in the house. You go out at 9 o'clock. You'd be out till about 12 or something like that. That'd be the end of it. So it'd be once in a blue moon, off the
Yeah.
cuff at the last minute, and that's how our life worked. We bought everything. We made everything from scratch as well. So we weren't buying TV dinners. We weren't buying, takeaways all the time. And everybody was saying to us, "You're bound to be pretty miserable." Why would I be miserable if I realised in the next 10 years I will be a millionaire? I wouldn't say probably. I will be a millionaire in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Who would give 10 years for it to be a millionaire? I would guarantee you probably everybody, because they're all giving all their money right now to win the lottery.
Yeah.
So why would you not just take that money and invest it instead? That's the key there. Understanding where you are and educating yourself financially is key and instrumental in your success. Now you go on to talk about the fourth one, which is start saving and investing early.
You've covered some of that already and went into, because it's really about obviously starting early and saving and investing early. Really, then brings into like the compounding.
Do you know how many people, Richard, do not have a pension for their children yet?
Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't know about it.
They have no idea that they can take pensions out for their children, and their children's compounding wealth is astronomical over 50 years. This is like the Apple shares thing. If you invest it now and early, the tax man even gives you up to the basic rate and tax back onto your child's pension at the same time. And you kind of think, "Oh, we've got plenty of time to do that." It's not that. It's the compounding.
The compounding effect. And for everybody that's watching, you could actually open pensions for your children as soon as they're born from birth. Yeah. And that compounds up over the years. And Jim, you've got them all in place for your kids and have done.
I can't believe how Scott is only 23 and he's probably more wealthy than most people are adults. Yeah. And yet he only just works a job. He only works at the Bayer Theatre and lighting technician, and all he's done is invested and saved properly. And we've actually invested in his pension early on and put money into that in the very beginning. And it wasn't astronomically much, but we've also encouraged him. Plus, he's got his ISA as well. He's for a Help to Buy ISA, which runs alongside. So when he gets his first home, he even gets a tax break on that and all.
I know.
That is crazy. You can see right now UK equities. The FTSE 100 is at 8,200 now. That's the highest it's ever been. Our return on pensions has actually gone up about 20% in the last 5 years. Just because we've sat on it and done nothing. This was money we never had anyway, really. This was just money I accumulated from other organizations and other companies I worked from over the years. I just can put it and put it all and consolidate into one area. And that could go up or down, but I don't care. I don't rely on that. But I tell you what, it's a great fallback to have.
Yeah.
Especially if it's invested with the right organization. So investing early is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say investing obviously early is really important in the right places and having the right advice and mentorship or guidance to invest in the right companies or areas and things that are going to then be able to. You need to look at the risk tolerance basically of any investment.
What sort of things are you investing in, Richard, then?
At the moment, well, obviously I have investment in our company, and we just spoke about that the other day. Obviously, I've got money that I want to put into the company rather than it sit in my bank or burn a hole in my pocket.
Because you make 20% every single year.
Yeah,
that's an easy gig. I'd be getting a loan. I'd be mortgaging my house.
Well, yeah, I've looked at that.
When I'm thinking about that, I'd be like, wait a minute, I can mortgage it 5% and I could get 20% every year on this money.
Yeah. You're not going to get a 20% return anywhere.
And I've got a guaranteed buyback.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer there. That's like the Apple situation. It's like, I probably knew Apple was going to grow, but I was never focused on Apple. I was always focused on what I needed to do to get it. And I was never focused on shares and equities or anything like that. I was never focused on anything like that. I was focused on everything that I knew was dead cert for me. Property was a dead cert for me. I knew this was a matter of just numbers and time. That's all it was down to. Another dead cert was the company I used to work for, was ASA Macintosh, who was part of Havelock Europa. And Havelock Europa was a dead cert for me because I thought, yeah, okay, I can see where this is going. I can see they've got the PFI contracts. They basically control the whole refit circuit for the whole of Scotland, and they're now moving into England. And Havelock's doing very well as well. And when they took over ESA, I used to work for it. I then used to think, oh, okay, this makes sense. This is really, because I understood numbers then, return on investment, and then I understood straight away when I looked at the earnings per share that it was actually really low. And I thought, this should be a lot higher than it is. And it tells me straight away, when you look at earnings per share and you understand the investments, this is undervalued, this company, and it's ripe. So, before the announcement was made and all the rest of it, I was out of that. I was never involved in the, what they call the suspension of you're not allowed to buy shares between a certain period, because I wasn't a director of the company. I thought to myself, this makes absolute sense. So I put my money where my mouth was and bought. And that's where I made a huge amount of money in the next 2 or 3 months. And then I just sold again, because the reality was I wasn't there to hang around to see if I can get more out of this. I'm not an addicted gambler anymore, by the way, because I used to be years and years ago as a young man. But I'm a Warren Buffett person. I'm like, when it gets to a certain point, it's like, if that's your exit strategy, we're going. I'm not caring if you think there's a bit more mileage in there. Anything could happen. Just take the money and run now. This is like house sales.
Yeah.
When you see some people, it's like, no, I'll hold on to see if I can get another £1,000. Your house is 400 grand. And you're holding on. You've got an offer at 399,000, and you're holding out for another £1,000. It's like the banker, deal or no deal. Do you want to be left with the 1 pence? So this is understanding, saving early, starting early, and understanding how to invest, and that's getting around the right people.
Yeah, and then like you say, outside your day-to-day job and things, Jim, as well. It's about building additional income streams and having that side hustle and things as well. But it's looking for the right opportunities to create that additional income stream and starting up your side hustle.
But you don't, Richard, you don't need to look for other opportunities. Though, if you focus completely on being successful at a certain field, you will start. This is the red and the brown thing. You will start to see opportunities and stuff. It's not even there. It'll start to appear in front of you. This is what people don't understand. They don't. This is why it takes a unique type of person. But this then goes back to what we talked about originally about the books, the tapes, the functions, getting around the right people. Then you become like them. As a natural result, it rubs off on you. So their success, even though, do you think I want just a wee bit of Richard Branson's success?
No.
Hell yeah. Even if I got 1%, it's like, really? I'll do the 1%. That's all right. Getting around somebody like that, getting around somebody that's really successful at what they're doing, asking how they did it. This is why I talk to a lot of these people, not on camera or anything like that. I talk to them and I was like, how did you do this and how did you do that? And I asked them all these questions and I just keep my mouth shut all the way through. I am the last person to then start talking. Now, in this instance, I'm obviously the one that's driving this conversation.
I know, but it's true.
But I become a student.
It's a lot of the questions is how you learn, and not just asking them, being asked them as well.
I usually sit there sometimes to myself and say, "Shut up, stupid! Don't say a word and just listen."
Yeah,
it's like you're not needing to teach them anything. It's when I used to go to a lot of property seminars, I'd sit round. I mean, a recent one, we went to an investment seminar in Edinburgh, and it wasn't one of the PIN meetings, it was something else. We went along, remember, and when I sat at the table, you had everybody going, "Oh, I'm so successful at this, and I'm brilliant at this, and I'm brilliant at that." And I'm going, "Oh, so how are you successful in that? And how are you doing this, and how are you doing that?" And it transpired that these people had just started 2 years ago. They weren't any further forward than they were before. And I thought to myself, do you know you've got a multi-millionaire sitting in front of you and you're trying to convince that multi-millionaire that you're so successful? and I was gobsmacked, Richard. And I just thought, I'm just not going to say a word. But it came out later on when everybody else started to say, "Jim, so let's talk about Jim and let's talk about this." And you just saw these people's chins drop as if to say, God, I was trying to convince this person how successful I was. And I never even took the opportunity to actually really learn from that person. Well, you missed it. You lost the opportunity because you were too busy bigging yourself up. It's about learning from other people and listening to what they say, only if they're more successful than you and what you want to do. and how you
That
want to
that
achieve it.
and that really falls into being like we say a student of life, and that's a whole show in itself. I think that we've got coming sometime in the future to be a student of life, and that's what that is. Having that realization that you need to look at your surroundings and learn from it continuously, you know, and every day basically, rather than think you already know it all. I think that's a really big pitfall for a lot of people.
So what other things do you want to ask me then? What areas do you want to find out from it? Like what you'd want to know?
Well, we talk about, and then obviously I've got points in front of me here, but the networking and mentors and things, people might be, and even maybe even myself sometimes, like, well, what is the right networking things that I should go to? And who are the right people? Where can I find the right people to talk to? Do you know, a lot of people might have that question.
I have the
Well,
perfect answer to that.
go on then. I was hoping you would.
You go to everything that you think could make you successful or help you in your journey. A lot of people used to slag me off,
Hmm.
take the mickey out of me and
Yeah,
make it a joke. And they used to say, you would go to an opening of an envelope, it would further your cause. And I'm going, you're damn right,
I'm right, you
I
would.
would.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to pay the price to get the success I'm after.
Hmm.
I'm not going to compromise on that. I'm going to pay that price, whatever that price needs to be. I don't know what that price is, but I'm willing to pay it because I want it that bad. I can
Yeah.
taste it. I can feel it. I can touch it. And that's what I wanted. And I knew it was going to happen for me. And I knew it was only a matter of time. And I knew by getting around the right people and networking with the right people and finding the right mentors, I was lucky to have the right mentors in the beginning. But
Yeah.
now it's quite challenging for me to find mentors now because I need to find somebody that's far more
It's
successful than
a
me.
different level. Yeah.
You can't learn from somebody that's got less wealth than you. You can't learn from, there's nothing really to learn in that unless they've got a specialist subject that you need to learn about.
Hmm.
That's the challenge. So it's getting around the right people, but you'll never know. It's the old thing about somebody said to me one day that you've got to kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince.
Hmm.
I went, well, if you can identify the right person, then why would you need to do that and waste your time? But
Yeah.
in the early days, you have to. Because you've not got that. You've not got that credibility. You've not got that standing.
Yeah.
You've not got that education. You've not got that knowledge. You've not got that expertise. So you're climbing a hill, literally like that at this point in time. You've literally got a ladder, and you're climbing a ladder at that elevation, at that angle right now, to try and get to this point where it might actually plateau out for you for a wee while to give you that ease and let you take the I mean, I never really took the foot off the accelerator. I just kept going and going and going and going. I would never stop. I was relentless about everything. I was so focused and so driven. It was just like I was just throwing people at the back of me, throwing them out the way while I was going forward. It's like
But then,
that's all I was doing
but yeah,
because
and it's trying to find, going through that process to find the right people to be able to stand on their shoulders to elevate yourself and prepare
yeah.
yourself on your journey. And I mean, it's not always easy to find that person or those right people straight off. So you will have to go through a few people that maybe weren't the right people to be listening to, or you realize quick enough that maybe they weren't the right people to be advising you or listening to.
So there was times I was going to say there was times that I went off the boil now and again. I remember
Uh-huh.
one night I went to a seminar down in London, because Heathrow Airport and just outside of there is the hotels, and they often have the seminars there. And I remember
Yeah.
being there one time. I remember actually being, drinking till 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was the last person to leave. And
Uh-huh.
literally, when I got up the next day, which was about 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, I was still half gone. I
Yeah.
remember going to the seminar, and it was like everybody was going, "Yeah, God, Jim, flipping it, and I got the accolade for being the last man standing. But I tell you what, it didn't do me any favors.
You would not have learned anything because
I
you're
never
going to take
learned anything.
everything in. Yeah.
The biggest regret, Brian Tracy, when we were in Las Vegas. I
Yeah.
had been out to all that morning. That's why I don't drink anymore. I'd been out
Yeah.
all that morning, and I missed Brian Tracy the next day. And I've never, ever got a chance to meet Brian Tracy since then. And if anybody knows who Brian Tracy is, he's a fantastic speaker. He's a fantastic motivational speaker. He's been around for years. He's like a Bob Proctor or a Zig Ziglar. All these people have written fantastic books on sales and strategies and everything. They've got a mine of information. and skill and expertise. And I still kind of beat myself up about that, about the very fact that I allowed drink to get in the road.
Yeah, and
There's a lot of people do.
On that occasion, and I ended up, I did go to see Brian talk that day, but I was, at that time, I didn't realise what I was sitting in front of.
Who's this guy sitting talking?
Yeah.
What does he know? See what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, until you actually know what people, and until you see people and what they've done and how much, how many people they've helped. This is why I talk about, checking people's backgrounds and making sure the person that you're actually speaking to is actually the person that you should be speaking to, because, things like TikTok and videos and all the rest of it could give you a false impression completely. It's easy to do that and manipulate that, especially the media shows that every single day. How you could say one thing and it's not another. I mean, I've known people actually to phone other people and say, "Oh my God, it's like you've been in a horrific accident," and they've no. But it's because it's been reported in the media that they've been in a horrific accident, and they've phoned their brother and they go,
headline was
"What's wrong? What can I do?" And it's like they've not been at all. They've just scraped themselves or something on their car as they go out the door, or some stupid like that, or they've bumped into another person, but they've made it like they've had a write off in their car and they're in the hospital in intensive care. So you've got to watch what's getting projected right in front of you and how that looks. But it is about finding the right mentors and finding the right network of people to be involved with. And it will take time. I mean, the BNI, it was never for me, but I went anyway for a BNI, the business network meetings. So BNI, things like that. And then local network clubs, PIN meetings, Investors Club. I even started Fife Landlord Association. All these different people, Richard, were fundamentally instrumental in me finding my way and my trial and error way to do it. That's key overall, how to do that. But then this takes on to the next one, what you talked about, and you had said was taking calculated risks.
Well, it was just everybody's journey is going to involve risks, and everybody's journey to their own success or their own achieving their goals, there'll be risks involved. But you could really look at risks and have a calculated approach to them.
But this is a question to you. Can you de-risk? Can you de-risk something?
Yeah, of course you can.
What would you do to do that?
Well, I think you need to look at if you're going into something, whether it's from a financial point of view, or whether you're investing resource or things into that. Is it going to be worthwhile? Are you going to lose out? Is there a chance that you could lose money? Or you need to look at it for that approach and have a real look at the situation and what the end result's going to be for you. And
do you know the amount of people that actually don't know how to do that? Do you know the amount of people that actually don't know what the right question is to answer? I was amazed that, something happened, and this person will probably not be tuning in anyway, it'll not make any difference. Something happened, and I said, look, this is what we need to do because it's last minute, and we need to get this all sorted for you. And it was a ticket event, and they wanted me to sort it all for them. So, and I was like, so when is it? And they go, well, it's going to be next week. And I'm like, what? And you're coming to me now to help you with the ticket sales? It's like, that's crazy. It's no Fife Fest, by the way.
No.
So you're coming to me now with the ticket sales. And it's like, if you told me 2 months ago, I could have put a campaign together. I could have got you in, and you would have been sold out by now. I said, so what is it you need me to do? Well, we need to get more ticket sales because it's due recently. Okay, so what we need to do. I'll email all the right people, all the contacts I'll have in the press and the media and all the rest of it. I'll email them now and get that all sorted for you. So I emailed them all now and all the rest of it. And then one of them responded back and says, look, I'm on the train, I'm on annual leave. And I went, oh, fantastic. This is great. You're going to be able to do this. So he asked her a couple of questions and I waited for the person to answer because they had been copied in the email. I messaged them to say, look, you've been sent an email and answer it quickly. Do you know it was not answered until about 8 hours later? And you know what the answer was? It's like, okay, if you give me a phone on Wednesday, we'll be able to organise something. I went, but your event starts on Tuesday.
So there was no urgency.
They never understood what the remit was to sell the tickets. They were like, okay, I got the impression they were maybe thinking they'll get photographs of the event once it's happened. It's like, you're too late. This is about selling tickets. This is about getting them now. So I just responded back the next day and said, basically, if you get a chance, look, do what you can, run with what you've got. See, this is done is better than perfect. This person was looking for perfect. By perfect, it's all over. Your
The
event
time you try
started.
and
You've
perfect
now
it,
lost 2 days. You've now lost 2 days. You probably lost the whole week that you were trying to get it filled because you're now asking for all the ifs and whats and buts and whys. And it's like, geez, just go with what you've got now because it's critical at this point in time. That's why I say a lot of people don't understand the brief that they've been given and how to implement that strategy and what they need to do there and then. The critical path analysis process. So it's learning from that. I would just ignore TikTok.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't help the
TikTok's a complete distraction, Richard. That's why I let you take it over. But you realise
yeah,
it's
I
a
know.
complete distraction. Just let them hang on in at the end, and if they want to ask questions, then fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's taking calculated risks, but making sure that you understand the remit about the questions that you're asked.
Yeah, and when we talk about obviously taking calculated risks and things, it brings me to, it makes me think about you used to always say Monte Carlo or bust, but there is an approach where you need to think about the and de-risk situations, especially when you're investing maybe all the money that you have in something, or you know you're putting everything you have into something. You need to look at the end result and see that it's going to be
So then,
a
how would you de-risk then?
well, it would depend on the situation. So if you've been saving and you're going to put money into an investment or something, you need to look at the end result. Are you going to make money out of this? Could you potentially lose your money? And we do this with property investment. We look at the factors where if interest rates change or if the property is empty and things, and look at all these different factors that could affect your investment and whether it's going
So
to
do
be
you go
viable.
through that with landlords then? So when you're
Yeah, of
sitting down
course
with
I do.
landlords, do you go through that spreadsheet with them then and say, look,
Yeah,
this is where you're buying, this is your rent, this is where you are, and this is where the interest rate is right now, and this is where it all is. So you actually physically go through that with all the
yeah, of
landlords.
course I do. Yeah, of course I
Yeah.
do. And that spreadsheet, I mean, it's your magical spreadsheet, Jim, but it's brilliant. And obviously, our landlords get used to that through myself if obviously they're using us as an agent.
Yeah.
And
So
to,
that's exactly how you de-risk a situation, but it
yeah,
applies to everything. It
yeah,
applies to everything that you do, everything that anybody does out there. Whatever situation you want to get in, or you want to invest in, or you want to put money into, or you want to build up, or you want to start a business, or anything like that, you have to play the downside and say, how bad can this get? If it
yeah.
went bad, how bad can it get? Would it clear me out
And where would it
completely?
leave me? Yeah,
Yeah, would it clean me out? And if it would clean you out, is there something you can put in place to stop that happen, to mitigate that point? And the classic example is, if it cleared me out, I'm in for, I don't know, a few million or something like that. If I
yeah,
lost a few million, I still wouldn't be cleared out. I'd be fine.
yeah,
So I'm okay with that risk it's involved. But the reality is, it's in property. Unless the property loses a few million, that's the only way I'm going to lose a few million.
yeah.
So I could literally just have a fire sale and walk away with my shirt on my back.
A fire sale.
Yeah, a fire sale. So a fire sale is
What a fire
if you
sale.
rock bottom, you're getting rid of it. It's like the shops. It's like we've had a
Yeah,
fire, smoke damage, all the rest of it. We're getting rid of all this excess stock. So they're selling it at more or less cost at what they bought it for. That's how they do it. Okay?
yeah. Sorry, I had
So
to
they're
get this
selling it
in.
at cost overall, and they're making sure they're just covering their costs to make sure they're walking away with a shirt on their back. That's the key indicator here. So it's
Yeah.
making sure overall that the de-risk the situation. This then comes back to this comes back to the eighth one that you said here was about embracing failure and as a learning opportunity.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
as much as you could calculate risk and try and de-risk a situation, and or whatever you're doing, there's always going to be some point where things maybe don't go the way they're supposed to, and you might feel like, oh God, that was a failure. But to learn from it and create an opportunity to move forward is the most
as long as the
important thing.
failure is not too harsh.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. As long as
Yeah,
it's not,
as long as
yeah,
I mean, here's a classic example. I mean, is Virgin Cola still here?
no,
No, but he still made money out of it when he
yeah,
did it. The Virgin trains are going?
no,
No, I don't think Virgin trains are going anymore.
no,
Virgin
it's not.
Virgin Brides going anymore? No, I don't think he's learned. I don't think
We've
there's
heard
any
of that,
more.
I don't think.
Virgin Galactic, it's still going, but I tell
Yeah,
you
it's
what,
still
his share
going.
price is at its lowest ever, and he's made it quite clear that he's not going to invest any more in it. from 2023, then December 2023. So Virgin Galactic's got to stand on its own 2 feet now. And that's when you take a stand and a line in the sand and you say, no, this is it. This has to work as it is. That's what I did when I first started out in the estate agency business. It was like, I couldn't just throw everything at it all the time. A line in the sand, it has to stop here. We have to do this. It has to happen as a natural result of what we're doing. If it doesn't happen, therefore, we're never gonna achieve anything, and it will just basically be a money pit, and it'll be like just throwing money into the fire all the time. And that's what people like Buffett and high profile investors do. They make sure they play the downside, but they make sure they have what there's a stop loss. So the object of investing is what, Richard?
So, well, the object of investing now, we'll go back to
what if you were to primarily put it, if I asked you what is the object of investing money?
To make money.
It's to not lose money.
Yeah, okay. But it's also to make profit.
Yeah.
So anyway.
No, the object, there's a subtle difference.
Right, okay.
The object of investing is not to lose money. And if everybody invests successfully focuses on not losing money.
Yeah.
Because if you don't lose money, you make money as a natural byproduct.
Yeah, okay.
But if you focus on making money, you've got a big chance of losing money.
Yeah.
And so every successful investor doing what they're doing, even Buffett as well, this was why they talk about stop loss all the time. So it's learning from the failures of the past, and everybody that's failed in the past, and what they failed to do is have their stop loss. In other words, the point where they think, we'll have to draw a line under it, we can't do this anymore. The stop loss has to be definitely in place. And that's why when you talk about embracing failure and you talk about learning opportunities, this is stand on the shoulder of giants. This isn't me saying this. This is all the things I've learned from listening to podcasts, reading books for Buffett, Branson, all the rest of it. All these people, Tony Robbins as well, 7 strategies for wealth and happiness. All these things talk about de-risking situations, but they also talk about make sure that you make sure your stop loss and make sure that's not going to go over. Because that can wipe you out, and then you've got nothing to invest. If you've got nothing left, you've had it. If you're no longer here, if you don't invest in your health, you're more than likely you're probably not going to last as long as you would if you invest in your health, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is why we talk about giving yourself the gift of today for tomorrow. So give yourself that gift today. Do that extra effort. I went swimming last week and I was on a face like fizz at the end of it. And it was like, honestly, and that's how I felt. Whatever you felt watching that, looking at that picture is how I felt. But I tell you what, I did the mile in the pool because I stuck to my guns and I disciplined myself. I'm doing a mile in the pool every single week when I can. Obviously, if I'm out of the country, I've got no other choice unless I've got another pool I can go to. But I'm going to do it regardless. So I've got a block booking every single week with the pool to hire a lane just for myself.
Yeah.
And that's just to go back and forward for an hour. Back and forward. No interruptions, completely focused on what I'm doing. Couldn't care less what's happening round about me. I'm just focused. I'm in this lane every single time, back and forward for a whole mile. Sometimes 2 kilometers if I've got time. But that's what I've learned over the years of the failures, because in the past I've let things get in the way. I'm like, oh well, it's about 5 times more money to have a lane than it is to actually to just go for a swim.
Yeah.
But the failure is everybody gets in your road.
I know.
They all start chatting, and for some reason, all bloody gravitate to me. It's like when I'm swimming, I'm on this side of the pool and everybody's on that side, and all of a sudden everybody gravitates to my side. What? And the other side's empty, and I'm like, what's going on here? Am I just a magnet for this? So I thought I'm just going to get a lane all to myself and get all that out of the way. So I invested in myself as a natural result of that, and that's why. So the failures I've learned in the past, I've learned from. And I've learned to then invest in myself in order to do that. Now, got my camper van done, and I could have saved myself a fortune by I could have done the ceramic coating myself. Took a whole day. But the last thing I want to do is work on my camper van for a whole day, polishing ceramic coating it. So I got a specialist in to do it for me. It's done. And I was able to focus on what I should be doing, which was actually generating more wealth and helping everybody else generate more wealth as a natural result of what I'm doing. Me polishing my camper van isn't going to achieve that. And that is banked. Camper van's a one-off when you think about it. You'll not make anything out of that. That's not going to give you any money, any wealth at all. If I focus on putting something in for today so I can make money out of it from tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, it's well worth actually investing in getting somebody to do my camper van and polish it, ceramic coat it.
Yeah.
So these are the things that you learn over the years. So the reason I'm telling these stories now is because this is all the crap I've had to do all my life to learn all these failures that I've done, to think I was actually saving money. Oh, I'll just manage the property myself. Oh, no. You idiot. You idiot, Jim. You could have been buying more property.
And spending your time building your portfolio as opposed to...
I could have been buying more property and buying even more and more and more. And the marginal amount I would have had to pay to a letting agent to do that for me, as I got bigger and bigger and bigger, would have got less and less and less as a natural result of that. And then I would have been able to focus on the things I should be doing to generate even more income.
Yeah.
But I just didn't get it in the beginning. It didn't resonate with me at all. I had a closed mindset. I was completely closed off. I thought my way was the only way. I didn't work out the compounded wealth over time, the opportunity loss that I was having as a natural result of having to manage these properties myself, going round and having to fix toilets, having to fix radiators, having to check smoke alarms, having to get carpet fitters, having to contact joiners, having to get plumbers, having to put people in and sign them into the property. All that time involved in doing that was completely, I wouldn't say it was wasted. It was a learning opportunity I can teach someone else.
Yeah. But you now have, obviously.
Yeah. So the ninth one, prioritize health and well-being.
Yeah, you talk about your swimming and things, Jim, and that's what was making me think about the next point, and really prioritizing your own health and your well-being. And do you know, if you're on a journey and you've set out and you've got your goals and you want to be successful and financially successful and things, but that's all worthless if you don't have your own health and your own well-being and you're not in a good physical and mental state.
Okay, so what do you do to look after your health and well-being then?
Yeah, I mean, and this all comes back to discipline and things as well. Obviously, working out and eating better and less alcohol, and do you know, all these things that you've said yourself, Jim, obviously smoking and alcohol and things that you used to do and don't do now. So yeah, it's cutting back on all these things and really, and it's the discipline thing.
So I see in your diary, because I get access to your diary, I see in your diary, you've got walking every night. Do you do walking every night?
I don't have a choice. I have a dog.
There they go.
That's why it's in my diary. But it's quite good.
That's probably why you got a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the dog will discipline you. So your dog's in charge of your life.
Because there's sometimes, and sometimes it'll be a nice day, and then I'll get to the back of 5, and I'm thinking, and then it starts raining, and I don't have a choice. I still have to go home and walk. So, but it's good. It's kept me in a routine. But yeah,
it is so true. I have been juicing almost every single morning for over 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, there's no surprise when I cut myself, my repair rate on my body is almost instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, and I was advising somebody, they were talking about they had COVID because they got arthritis from the COVID jab, apparently. And apparently that is a thing, they were saying. And so I sent them something over the weekend and I says, look, Juice Master, Jason Vale, watch Super Juice Me, 28 day. Yeah, watch it. It's on YouTube for free. There's over 1 million people have watched this. Watch it. Because if you watch that, I think it'll make a fundamental difference in your life, and possibly your arthritis or your symptoms of arthritis will disappear. I think it's a symptom thing. I think the body, this is knowledge and expertise, and other people over the information I've gathered all these years, and the podcasts I still listen to right now. Jonathan Harry, actually, I'm listening to the now, is talking about Ozempic, which is the weight loss drug
in America.
That's frightening. That's really frightening, that weight loss drug. That is a no-no. You never go near that. That will literally destroy you. And people think it's going to be a savior for them. It's not. It's just money-making machine for the pharmaceuticals. But apart from that, I really genuinely believe your body has the tools to fix itself.
You just need to
and
give
to
it the.
stave off things like cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all these different disorders you have. I believe what's happening is because of the consumption of ultra high processed foods
Yeah, I would
and
agree.
alcohol and vaping and smoking and the atmospheric, stuff that you absorb through your skin, which
Air
is
pollution,
your
yeah.
biggest lymph node in your body is your skin, which absorbs all that crap into you, and all the things that you put on your hands go straight into your bloodstream and go straight to your brain. Your body is fighting against all that every single day. It has no time to protect you from anything else.
That's a good point.
And if you've only got a finite amount of whatever that are antibodies in your body, they're too busy fighting everything else, and they've not got a chance to stave off cancer. They've not got a chance to stave off Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, all the rest of these diseases and everything like that. So I firmly believe that you need to stop ingesting as much toxins as possible and almost eat clean
Yeah,
eating. And I don't mean like, oh, you've got to do organic with everything. What I mean is cook things from fresh.
it's the cooking things, I think, as well. Like you say, the process, and to completely take out processed food from your diet is quite difficult. It's more the ultra processed stuff, because
Yeah.
I mean everything, most things apart from fresh vegetables and fruit and everything, are all processed to a certain extent. But the ultra processed stuff, you could cut out quite easily.
Yeah, well, I mean, you take vegetables and you immediately freeze them, but by
Mhm.
immediately freezing them, it actually convert they keep the nutrient. It
Yeah,
actually doesn't, it's because as soon as you cut something, it starts to process. That's degrading it straight away.
yeah,
As soon as you start to I do cold press juicing because
yeah,
the high speed juicing actually gets less soluble fiber, which is what you want really as well at the
yeah,
same time as taking the nutrient in from that, because you need the soluble fiber in order to help slow down the absorption of the sugars in things like the fruit and the
yeah.
veg that you're getting. So that's why it's important to do that and don't do and you do high speed, you're starting to kill the nutrient as you're doing it. And again, this is all knowledge and information I've gathered over the years. It works for me. Hey, don't listen to me if you don't want to. It's a classic example. What does this boy know? Who cares? And like, all these different things you get on social media. And it's like, I don't care. It's like, say what you want. Just didn't listen to me then. It makes no difference to me. It'll not change my lifestyle. Only reason I'm doing this is to in the hope it might actually help someone else.
Yeah.
Just like the example of, I now got it in my mind about this thing, about the homelessness thing, and the fact that there's people sitting on the street and getting indoctrinated in that system, and they're never going to get out of it because no
And
one understands. All they're doing is prevent. All they're doing, they're not preventing. What they're doing is they're just trying to cure.
yeah,
They're not trying to prevent it. They're just waiting until it happens and trying to cure it. And curing is not the thing you should be doing. You should be preventing it from happening. You should be intervening quickly in order to stop that happening. Getting people off the street straight away, getting
yeah.
them into a system that will actually help them, and not getting them into a system which actually tries to cure them. And remember, it's not what's wrong with them, it's what's happened to them that's caused this.
Yeah. And it's like you say, this guy that you spoke to at the weekend, the things, the amount of potential that these people have, just because they're homeless doesn't mean they're any different to anybody else. Do you know,
Well, I was homeless.
yeah, there you go. And then it's like, obviously,
So
people
imagine
still have,
me rocking up. I actually did that. I rocked up to a landlord and says, I've got nowhere to go. I've got nowhere to stay in
mhm,
Kennoway. And I remember the property. And they
yeah,
basically said, well, you two are a bit young. We'll not really want to take you on. Now, Elaine worked at Diageo at that time at United
yeah,
Distillers as a full-time job. And we just needed a place to go. And
yeah,
their place wasn't really great. It was a studio apartment off the side of their house on the way
hmm,
on the Kennoway Road. And it's like, they went, no, you're too young. So we've decided to pick someone else. And I went, you've just missed a trick there.
hmm,
Because we were model tenants even at 19 years old.
yeah,
We looked after a house perfectly, but we were still homeless. I was homeless as a natural result of that because I didn't have any other choice. So at that point, that person wrote me off.
yeah,
Now
well,
imagine if they had invested in me and they decided not to invest in me. you think they'd be regretting it now?
Yeah, probably. In fact,
There you
definitely.
go. So you don't know where's. I've seen so many examples of people taken from the streets and actually turned into, the classic example of, how
Yeah.
it could be done. I've seen it so many times in the mentors that I've had over the years and how they've done that with people. But it's a burning desire. It's changing their mentality. It's all these different things you talked about, Richard, and all these things you talked about the cultivating the wealth mindset, about this the setting the clear, achievable goals, small goals in the beginning for these people, educating them financially, making sure they understand. But I don't mean going to college or anything. I just mean savvy, common sense. It's not that common. So it's easy to do that. Starting and saving, investing early in themselves and in their life, and then others as well. Building these additional income streams if you can. I don't mean running away and doing other things. Just if the opportunity arises, seeing it. Finding the mentors, networking with people, taking the calculated risks, embracing the failure as learning opportunities, but learn from other people that have failed more, because they'll tell you all the lessons without you having to take the hits. It's classic. It's like I'll come to people and say, tell me what you want, and I'll show you how to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I want this. Okay, do that, and that, and you'll definitely get it. I didn't really want to do that though.
No,
Okay,
it's not going to work then.
well, do that, and you'll get it. No, but I didn't really want to do that. It's like, Christ almighty. We're going to bake a cake and we're just going to take the egg out. How well do you think that's going to happen? And I tell you what, you didn't want the milk either. Is that what you're telling me? Because it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
It's like, just do these 5 things I told you to do and you will be guaranteed success. But they have no belief in themselves that they'll do it. They don't believe me either because it's never happened and it sounds so simple. Sounds so simple. It's what you said in the beginning. This sounds pretty simple.
How could it be that easy? And it is. As long as you put your
And it's
mind
pretty boring. I was talking to Ian this morning about it. Says, God, I'm pretty bored. It's a good thing though, Ian. I says, but I'm not going to run out and look for any other opportunities to get involved in. By the way,
just to
I
make
like
yourself
being bored.
busy. Yeah.
Boring pays well. I like being bored.
Yeah.
This is where it comes back to giving back. So when
Yes.
I went away to Spain, I managed to guarantee and buy all the bunting for Crail High Street so they can use new bunting for the next 7 years. So we paid for that, 5 properties.
Yeah.
And then we invested another lot in the Anstruther Harbour Festival. We paid for that as well. So the Anstruther Harbour Festival could go away with events that they've got. And just the other now, I've written back to the Anstruther Improvements Association saying, I will pay to fix the St Nicholas Tower, the clock and the bell. I will pay that bill for you.
Yeah. Good.
That, for me, is what it's all about.
Definitely.
Because I can do that.
Yeah,
one of my family members, you know that, Richard, one of my family members couldn't really afford to have the property they really wanted. I just paid the difference.
Yeah.
So they've got it. That's what this is all about. It's not about me. It's never been about me. It's always been about what I could do for someone else. Yeah, you've got a certain amount to live on, but I've got what I need. I don't need any more. I think somebody stood dumbfounded the other day when I told them that. It was actually in Spain, in Sugar Reef. There was going, why are you paying for all these cats to get caught, neutered, and released again? Why are you paying for all this? This is thousands every year. You're paying for this personally. Why are you paying for that? You don't live here. She couldn't understand it. And I don't want to see the cats suffer. I says, and I can do something about it, and I've got the means to do it. Says, but why are you not just doing other things with that money? I went, how much more do I need?
Mm-hmm.
And she just went, the penny dropped. And she went, wow, I've never met somebody like you. But how much more do I need?
Yeah.
I don't need any more. I don't need any more. I do what I want to do. And I said, by the way, by the time you've spoken to me, I've made even more money.
I thought you were going to say you had time speaking to her lost your money, but no.
No, I said, by the time you've spoken to me, I've made even more money, so I can give that away as well. And that, for me, is what it's all about. So that was your 10th one that you talked about.
Yeah, and that's a
giving
good
back.
way to end the show today, is to finish up on the giving back thing, and it is important. And your examples there, Jim, about how you've given back to the local community, and not just here in the local community, you've done it overseas and things as well.
But you've done that as well.
Yeah, of course.
But that's your efforts that have done that as well. That's not me. That's us, because that's Five Properties. That's what we do. So it's people see me as the front person a lot of the times, and it's fine because I appear in video quite a lot, and it's relentless. But the reality is, it's because it's us that have done that. It's not me that's done that. It's us as a team. We've managed to be able to do that. And the people that use us and our customers that use us to let property, to manage property, for investment, or to sell their property, or the people that even buy a property from us, make money for us. And that allows us to reinvest back in our communities.
Yeah.
That's what this was all about.
Things, it wouldn't be possible.
It's everybody out there that's tuning in. It's people that watch this. The very fact that they watch this and they tell other people about what we do and how we do it, and other people come as a result of this, and people become part of our tribe.
Yeah.
And when they become part of our tribe, we all work in unison towards a common goal, which is for the benefit of ourselves and mostly other people as well round about us.
Yeah.
I've said before, I'd love the day. And people go, you're a landlord and all the rest of it. You're a parasite. It's like you take, people should only own one home. It's like, the only reason I've still got all these houses I have to rent is because I have to keep a roof over people's heads because the government's not doing it.
Yeah.
They're not able to do it. I can't, and they won't take them. They won't buy my houses. They won't buy any of these houses. They'll buy the ex-local authorities, but they'll only buy them if they're empty. They won't buy them otherwise. So that's why there's no point in me selling, because I then have to make somebody homeless for the government to buy it. That's their policy.
Which is crazy.
And they won't buy a private property. They'll buy an ex-local authority property because that's what they had before.
Yeah.
So that's a scheme that works just now, and it doesn't work very well because they've got it wrong. Do I need to tell them that? I don't know. Probably they need to. They can't work that out yet, and they don't know what they don't know. But my point is, that's the reason I'm still a landlord. I would happily just leave this market completely and then just go and do something else completely different with that money and make it even more safe. Put it in a bank. How much more do I need? But I feel obliged. I feel an obligation still to do that. I feel an obligation still to do it. And it's no, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse for the UK overall as the housing situation still continues to go.
I know. But the giving back thing is very important. So yeah, it was a good way to bring that to an end. And hopefully that everything we've covered today is anybody that's watching, and maybe if they are right at the start of the journey and they maybe have a wee bit misconception about how they're going to achieve what they want to achieve or how they're even going to get started, then hopefully the points that we've covered today have given them a lot of insight. And if anybody's got any questions, always feel free to come to us on anything that we speak about in the shows. And I think we'll just leave it there today, Jim.
Perfect. Okay. Bye-bye for now, folks.
Right. See you later.